You know, sometimes I'm glad you're not here during the breaks. Well, you know, we have been saying it. Now the fundraising that is proving it. Anti-establishment candidates are apparently not a fad. Ben and Bernie are raking in millions, but not from the big guys, from the little guys. Charles saying that in this case, money really does talk.
Big parallel to what we saw with that candidate that came out of nowhere. Barack Obama raised a lot of money, small donations.
Small donations at first. Small donations. Plus, he worked the internet. You know, he knew.
Well, he worked the internet, but again, all that stuff came later. You know, sometimes we always talk about how money makes a candidate, but sometimes money follows who's hot. And these guys are gaining traction. 650,000 individuals for Sanders, 600,000 for Carson. These are small people who are going to go vote. They contribute $100 and they will show up to the polls.
Well, the wind up right now, Bernie Sanders back.
Right. Well, I would say this, just in terms of Obama's fundraising, particularly back in 2008, he did have a lot of small donations. We know that. But what he did at first was get some key Wall Street support, provided the seed money. I mean, guys at Merrill Lynch, at Bank of America, various Wall Street firms, Larry Fink at BlackRock, they provided him with the base, and they used that base to reach out and do all those events. Bernie Sanders doesn't have this, although we did find two brokers, one guy from Merrill Lynch that actually gave the guy money, which I can't believe.
They know they
destroy Merrill Lynch.
They're aware that he wants to lift their top rate to 90%.
I asked the guy that, but he thinks, you know, he's whatever he's doing.
I mean, their names are Hammer and Sickle.
He's smoking
or
something.
he's high, yeah.
All right, Dagan, I mean, the argument is that passion begets money, money begets passion, and then here we go. But who has that going the strongest right now? And can it get them to the finish line?
Well, people love Bernie Sanders because his first name can be a verb. Just like Trump is a verb. Burn, baby, burn it up, burn it down. Yeah. Right, exactly. That is very effective.
That's fascinating. Inferno.
So, but Bernie Sanders has refused to accept super PAC money. And the thinking is that he needs big money donors or a lot of money in a super PAC to get past a couple of the early primary competitions. Ben Carson, on the other hand, big super PAC, big PAC money.
He's got big from everybody, right?
Right.
No
and a huge a network of people who do homeschooling, very tight-knit group of supporters for Ben Carson.
Wait a minute,
homeschooling,
so
yes.
Big with homeschooling.
Tea Party and homeschooling.
I never thought that was such a big base.
And I'm sure they vote.
It is a powerful network of political supporters.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I'm educated. All right, so Ben Stein, what do you make of this and who it helps right now? Who do you think?
Well, first of all, let's put this in proportion that we made. 650,000 donors to Mr. Sanders. That's 0.2% of the population. It's not really that many. It doesn't really show a huge groundswell. There are an awful lot of cranks and malcontents out there, especially on the left. Disappointed, bitter people, and they gravitate to somebody like Bernie Sanders, who's a crank and discontented,
otherwise known as viewers,
and discontented and unhappy person. On the other hand, there are a lot of Christians who feel like they've been disappointed and left out, which they disdained by the political establishment, and they're going for Mr. Carson. This is a huge country. It can afford a lot of money for a lot of candidates. I don't think it shows anything much one way or the other, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I don't know why we even did a segment on it. All right. Adam, I do know this in some of the polls, let's say on the Republican side, I think 7 out of 10 of those who are polled prefer an outside-the-box candidate, would be Carly, Ben Carson, Donald Trump. I'll even throw Ted Cruz in there. He's a senator, but, you know, outside-the-box senator. But what do you make of just that, what that is saying and where that money is flowing?
Well, that's polling, and it is money. I
know. I just told you. I just said polling.
Well, but it's polling as opposed to voting in primaries. and I think the better comparison here is Howard Dean than Barack Obama. I mean, Howard Dean ran this kind of campaign, and he flamed out. Obama always intended to be a Democratic Party insider.
Adam, he lit himself on fire more than flamed out.
I know, and inexperienced. And these other inexperienced politicians probably will too. I said it, and we'll have time to talk about it.
I agree with you on the fundraising and the polling aspect of this right now. The polls right now, if you talk to people at these campaigns, you know, the margin of error is pretty high. You know, these are not the private polls; these are the public polls. And you know, Trump.
Where do you think things go when the dust settles?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. What I can't figure out. And I'm not an expert at this. I just talk to these guys because they're all supporting, the Wall Street guys are supporting people in various campaigns. We don't know if there's some sort of a seismic shift here where people hate the establishment so much that the Republican base will not vote for any establishment figure, or when people,
well, they didn't come out last time.
Or people,
a lot of grassroots people did not come out.
By the way, this stage in the campaign, we often see this. We often see this, right?
Is this some seminal moment, or will things go back to normal where once they get tired of Donald not answering questions?
I think the answer to that is John Boehner leaving the Speaker of the House. I think this is something that's real. I think it's tangible. I think it's been brewing for almost a decade, and it's come back out.
Very good. And that's the subject we're going to pounce on Forbes on Fox.
Money follows a winner. We know that. So you win one contest, and the money will follow you.
Yeah, it all depends on that. You got to follow through. All right, guys. Meanwhile, a storm churning off our East Coast. Billionaire Carl Icahn warning about another one that's already here. Only no one's watching, which is Carl's way of saying you should start worrying.
Today on Forbes on Fox, what does it say when a big labor union may be looking to team up with Donald Trump instead of Hillary Clinton? And forget about changing who runs the House. Is Congress such a mess that we have to change the whole way the House works? We report, you decide, at the top of the hour.